it. You didn't feel like getting up in the morning. You didn't feel like going to work. You didn't feel like going to the gym. You didn't feel like eating the right food. We've all been there. We have all been there. We have all put ourselves in a position where we just did not feel like doing it because we had the opportunity to make a decision if we were going to do the right things or not. Let's talk a little bit about discipline now.
Many people lack discipline. Now, why is that? Because people are waiting for something to happen. They'd rather see it happen on its own without them actually putting in the work to make it happen.
This is one of the key factors to getting anything out of nothing. How does that work? When you are in a position right now where you say, I am not getting up, I don't feel like getting up.
You can't have excuses and discipline in the same conversation. It doesn't work. Excuses does not activate discipline. It's the integrity and the will of the individual that possesses the idea of making discipline do what it needs to do.
This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about discipline. And you must be willing to embrace it. Discipline is something that you must continue to work on every day, each day of your life. When you're tired, you got to turn on the discipline. Physically, yes, I'm tired. Physically, I am tired. I don't want to do it. But just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the mind will quit long before the body ever will. What do you do at this point in your life? You got to keep on working. Discipline takes time. Discipline has a purpose. And as long as you are connected to that, the time will come where you will become attached to it enough to where it's just another day in the office. It is officially now a part of your DNA. You are on your way now. While everyone else is sleeping, you're working. When everyone else is saying that they won't do it because it's too much work, you're working harder. This is when you have to know within you, discipline is how you get things done. When people are looking around for an excuse, excuses will show up and they will give you exactly what you're looking for. Nothing, because that's exactly what you're gonna get. When you are not putting yourself to the test to do what you must do to get what you need, it will never happen. Let's just think about it for a moment. You go to work because you gotta pay your bills. You don't wanna work, but you gotta work because the bills are not gonna get paid by themselves. So what do? You get up. Oh, I'm not talking about hit that snooze button and take another 5 or 10 more minutes of sleep. I'm talking about you gotta get up because you know no matter how many times you hit that snooze button, you still gotta go to work. I don't wanna work today. The work isn't gonna get done by itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got to be willing to work. Nothing is easy. It is not supposed to be easy. If you're depending on something to happen without you being a part of it, it's not gonna work.
Discipline. Let's go further. Let's talk about your health and wellness. I need to eat this because it tastes so good. I want to eat that because that's what I want. But the things that you are doing to your body right now, you are taking it to a point where it's going to be unhealthy. Oh, I don't want to go to the gym because it hurts too much. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to work. I don't want. It's always about what you don't want. Because you have not disciplined yourself to know you only got one life that you're fighting for. And your health does matter. How can you be your best if you're not healthy enough? How can you focus on longevity if you just wasted time doing nothing to better yourself. See, again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to the mindset, the society that we're living in today. People will wait for bad things to happen before they do something good. Why not just start now? Why not discipline yourself?
Why not just start now? Yes.
Get up and go.
I love that. Every morning I actually read, and I 100% love listening to these motivational speeches while I wake up. It is, oh man, imagine the thrill that I get while I wake up as I'm listening to that. The motivation, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of times I don't want to wake up, and a lot of times I don't want to do any of that stuff that I'm supposed to do. Any of that stuff that I need to do, I don't want to all the time. And I'll tell you right now, it's very discouraging to wake up to like the news and hear all the crazy things going on in life. It's very, very discouraging. Like all that stuff is very discouraging, and I'd rather just not deal with it overall. But good morning. I hope that you guys are well. I've got my coffee brewing. I completely forgot to start the coffee, and I am so sorry because I'm going to have to get up in about 2 minutes to go grab my coffee. But I hope you guys are doing well. I want to shout just a little bit before we get into our episode topic today, mostly because I also don't want to start the episode topic and then break away for a little bit to grab my coffee. So Target has such nice shirts. I don't know if you guys are aware. I'm just now finding out that Target has such nice polos. At least there's this specific brand. I don't know if I trust any other brand just yet. But come here. What are you doing? I don't know if I trust any other brand just yet. Also, let me turn this back up. I turned it down for a little bit. Yeah, I turned it down. There we go. I don't know if I trust any other brand just yet. Let me bring it back down right here. Yep, I don't know if I trust any other brand just yet that they have there, but this brand feels very nice. It's kind of stretch, but also look, it tucks so perfectly into the belt, and it fits so nicely. It's here's the brand. It's like whatever brand that is right there. But if you see that at Target and you're looking for some nice cheap $20 shirts. I think $20 is cheap for a really nice polo, a very nice professional looking polo. I think $20 is pretty inexpensive. But if you're looking for a really nice one, these are nice. I mean, I think I ended up buying like three or four of them. I bought all of these. I think I bought 5. I bought all of the styles that they did have, or all the colors that they had. And I might just double down and buy another that, or I need to, In Motion is the name of it. In Motion is the name of the brand. And it is a very, very good brand. In Motion, polos. Do they have their own website actually? I wonder if they have their own website. Like where I can individually purchase. Wait, can I order In Motion brand polos from Vistaprint? That would be insane. I would have. No, okay, no, they're not on there. Vistaprint just came up when I was looking for it because I make a lot of my own merchandise through In Motion. So I was just okay. Now I don't see, or through Vistaprint. I don't see it. That's fine. But I wanted to let you guys know. So if you are looking for a nice, slick, clean, stretch as well, decently colored professional polo, In Motion at Target is definitely what I recommend. And this is not a paid advertisement or anything like that. But if In Motion or Target wants to support, hey, go ahead. Speaking of support, I want to also share with you guys today. Now, this is also not a sponsorship, but I guess we're going to get these out of the way with early this morning. We're going to get these out of the way with early this morning. In the description right now, I am currently working on building up a partnership with a company called WiseFi, WIZEFI. I do really like WiseFi as a company, and I want to share with you what they are about really quickly. So I don't know. Okay, yeah. So this is WiseFi. So they're web and mobile software. That's really basically what I do in a minuscule way. What I do in a minuscule way to everyone as well. And so they help teach you money skills that I ultimately help teach my clients. And so I really like this, and partnering with them will be great because it gives my clients the ability to be able to learn some of the skills and practice the skills that I'm teaching them whenever I'm working with them. So helping them learn how to learn three different money skills. One is money organizing. So actually understanding how to categorize your money your spending into different categories as well. They also teach you money planning, so start planning for everything else, and then also monitoring all of the things and with budgeting. So those are really awesome pieces. And so I really do love this. They do have a video as well that I want to show you guys. But once again, like I said before, this is not a sponsorship, but you do need to be invited. So I have my invitation link in the comment section down below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on Spotify. I guess this is gonna. Okay, well, we'll just go to YouTube. WiseFi. I don't need to. I don't. Here we go. WiseFi explainer video. Let's do this so I can share audio. And also, do you have better settings?
Meet the Fosters. Their dream of an ideal lifestyle wasn't complicated or greedy. They simply wanted to do the activities they love with the people they love, but without the time constraints of a full-time job. Unfortunately, some past financial mishaps caused the Fosters to give up on that dream. Although the Fosters did try online budgeting apps to help.
I hope this is good.
Money, they found what they really needed was guidance on the right places to put their money each month.
Yep.
Then the Fosters
found what they need.
WiseFi, a groundbreaking tool that helps you make the most of your money. Here's how it works. After the Fosters entered their financial information, WiseFi organized their money into categories and then applied their money according to WiseFi's 4-step wealth-building formula. The results? WiseFi showed them how to increase their future net worth by over $1 million more than their current path. It even showed them which debts to pay off first and gave them a spending guideline for things like food and housing and entertainment. Now, the Fosters know exactly where to put their money each month and can see exactly when they'll reach their goals. Their Fosters were so excited about this, they shared their story and their personalized affiliate link with their friends and family. And when their friends and
there we go. WiseFi, beautiful. The software is so clean, so slick. It looks very good, and it's also very easy and simple to use. It is definitely one of the best personal finance applications, softwares that I have ever used and that I could ever potentially recommend to anyone. And so that's something that I'm currently working on, potentially getting a sponsorship or partnership for all of you guys. Maybe we ever get like 3 months free or 6 months free subscription or something like that, which would be amazing. They do provide a 30-day free trial as well currently. And then also it is only $8.99 a month. I believe actually $7.99 a month, which is cheaper than a lot of the other personal finance apps out there. And this actually teaches you as well. So like I said, it's what I do, but what I do in a basic sense into an application where you're learning financial education, not just budgeting and getting subscriptions paid off or negotiating and things like that. So I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, the link is in the description below, and I know my coffee is ready, so I'm going to go and grab my coffee. And in the meanwhile, I will leave you guys to Coach Payne with some amazing motivation while I go and grab my coffee really quickly. Discipline is just a word. It's just sitting there. I do love that. All right, today I am very excited to be able to talk finally, because I have been talking about this for like the last month, but because of crazy different things going on in life and things like that, I have not been able to get the chance to teach and speak on this topic today that I am so excited to speak about. Today's episode is all about is all about leadership. All right. Obviously, as I say all the time, this is a success blueprint. The goal is to bring you the blueprint to be successful in any manner, way, shape, or form, financial, education-wise, or business opportunity, business career, entrepreneurship. And I believe that leadership is probably one of the very key and most important pieces of ownership of any business, of entrepreneurship, of developing yourself as well. And today we're going to get a chance to talk about leadership principles as defined by the Marine Corps. And again, I'm not saying I'm a Marine Corps show. I am a Marine myself, but what I am saying is just that, like I said in the last video about leadership, in the last podcast about leadership, the Marine Corps has leadership down. They have leadership down 100%. And I believe that a lot of people would learn so well from the Marine Corps leadership. And I'm not just saying that you have to go to boot camp and become a Marine in order to learn and practice Marine Corps leadership. That's not true at all. And there's a lot of people out there who practice a lot of these things. But the reason why, a huge reason why so many individuals struggle with building and developing themselves as a leader is because they don't have the blueprint. It's like there's a blueprint to everything else out there. There's so many things, but it's so challenging. Now there are books out there that teaches you about leadership, right? Like, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership here. There's books on there. I've also got, let me see. That's actually crazy. I have a book called Power and Impact. That is an amazing book from the Harvard Business Review. It is about power and impact, not necessarily leadership. AUC Growth Machine. I've got a few. 12 Rules for Life. I've got a few out back here. But what I'm saying is, it's not as implemented into our lives growing up. Just like financial education isn't taught well, leadership education isn't taught well either. And so it's expected for you to just figure it out along the way. And so in the last Leadership Blueprint podcast episode that we recorded, we talked about the 14 traits of a leader, things that you can see within yourself, like your actual characteristics that you would have as a leader. And I told you guys to actually practice. I actually told you guys to practice and judge yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10. And we're actually going to do this again. Wow, I wrote that so nicely. That looks so good. Nice and even. Good job, Charming. Now, what the goal is as I go over today's leadership principles, the goal is for you to judge and measure yourself on just how well you live by these principles on this scale of 1 to 10. And as I said before, just measuring and judging your own skill or yourself and where you are will ultimately enhance your abilities to be able to follow these practices. Now, like I said before, leadership traits are what you have inside of you as like what your character is, like your decision-making skills, your judgment, your enthusiasm, and things like that. Principles are like the commandments that you live by. So today we're going to talk about the 11 leadership principles, which are the commandments of which a leader lives by. All right. These are things that they believe in and things that they go and actually implement and do that makes them a leader. And so I can't wait to be able to share this list with you guys. As a reminder, I want to explain what Marine Corps leadership, or the Marine Corps defines leadership as. Leadership. All right. Once again, the Marine Corps defines leadership as the sum of the qualities of intellect, human understanding, and moral character that enables a person to inspire and to control a group of people successfully. Intellect, how smart you are. Are you technically proficient? All right. And also tactically proficient as well. And that's the Marine Corps part piece. And then human understanding. Do you understand humans? That's a huge piece. Just understanding them, understanding the human experience, understanding their fallacies, and able to forgive, and also predict, humans' predictability as well. And then your moral character, and that's how just you are. Also, how good you are at doing the right things and being honorable and courageous. And so, the sum of intellect, human understanding, and moral character. And so today, let's talk about leadership principles. We're going to talk about each of them, and it would behoove you to write these down as I go over them too, and also a little bit about what they mean. Some of them are kind of self-explanatory. I'm sure a lot of them you've probably heard before, but some of these are going to be might be a little bit new for a lot of people out there. And so I would encourage you in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day interactions with yourself and with your team, with your employees, with your contractors, with whomever the case is, even your family, right? Even your family, try to emulate these different principles in your day-to-day life, and I promise you're going to see yourself flourish like crazy. All right, so first, the very first principle is know yourself and seek self-improvement. And I love that one because it requires you to do two things, and it is a hard journey for a lot of people. Knowing yourself. You actually have to know yourself. You have to find yourself. Work on looking for who you are, what you're good at, what you're bad at. There's so many people that don't know what they're good at, that don't know their strengths. They know their weaknesses, or at least they believe that they know their weaknesses. And a lot of those weaknesses just so happen to be limiting beliefs. There we go, limiting beliefs. All right, and so this principle of leadership should be developed by the use of leadership traits. And so that's why this is kind of first. And those traits that we talked about the last time are where you should be able to find yourself. And so based on those 14 leadership traits that we talked about last time and how you judged yourself on those leadership traits should allow you to understand how to know yourself as a leader, and then also how to seek self-improvement. So evaluate yourself by using leadership traits to determine your strengths and weaknesses. All right, and that's honestly one of the best things. I think that one thing that I'm consistently doing, and it allows me to continue pushing and driving in like business and things like that, is just that when you know yourself and you know what you're good at, you know your strengths, it's obviously very easy for you to play off of your strengths. You start to find your value proposition, which is things that make you unique. But seeking self-improvement means that you're consistently always moving and growing. You're always pushing. You cannot quit something if you're consistently seeking self-improvement. And I want to talk about this, especially if you're going into the business of entrepreneurship in any way. If you are, entrepreneurship is really challenging. And the downside is that people end up blaming their lack of success on their business or on the people around them. Your lack of success is not due to any of those people. Might the people around you be, I don't know, catty or full of drama or whatever the case is? They might be, and they might make it very hard. They might choke you, right? They might be choking and stunting your growth and your progression, right? Is the business model that you're part of great? Maybe not. It might not be the most successful, but can you still improve and grow? You can. And if you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, I promise you can. If obviously that stuff is affecting how you perform and how successful you are, maybe you have a weakness of falling into the trap of listening to your limiting beliefs, listening to other people, just falling right in line, and you don't understand yourself. But if your strength was to take initiative, have physical, mental courage to walk straight in and deal with the stuff regardless, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. A lot of times in business it's not easy. I mean, most of the time it's not easy. And a lot of times you probably want to work around the people and network with people that you do. But does that mean that you should allow your business to falter or your success to be limited? No. Know yourself, know who you are, know what you're good at, and let that shine. I see it a lot of times in my business with a lot of people. Oh, well, this client didn't do this and this client didn't do that. Well, obviously you need to figure out what part of that you had and change it and then fix it for the next time. And so for me, because I am consistently seeking self-improvement, I am always working to improve myself and develop myself, which is why I'm able to be so great. And there's a lot of people who start off in business and they don't have goals to grow. And that's how I know that this book here, Agency Growth Machine, is great about leadership. And it specifically talks about how I actually wanted to kind of find it. I want to find it, but I'm not going to find it off rip. But it specifically talks about how your middle 60%ers, right? You got your top 20% of your team, right? You got those leaders, you got those individuals who like you can count on, blah blah blah. You got the bottom 80%, the bottom 20%. We're just gonna not talk about them. We're talking about the middle 60%, about how those middle 60% are there because they never intended to grow in the first place. They never intended to actually truly never intended to grow. Maybe they said it, but they didn't actually believe it and they didn't truly intend on it. And so you can always tell if your followers, if your team, your employees, or whomever it is, are learning about themselves and seeking self-improvement just by asking them, hey, let me see your goal chart. Let me see let me see your goal chart. If they don't have one, they're not consistently working on growing. If it's not written down somewhere and that they're tracking it, it's not happening. And that's probably why they're in the middle 60%. And they're never going to crack out of it unless they do have some of that vision. So know yourself and seek self-improvement. Number one leadership principle that's going to help you out with everything else as well as those leadership traits that we talked about. All right. Now, according to the Marine Corps, number 2, be technically and tactically proficient. Well, tactically is mostly speaking of your knowledge about the field, and technically is knowing the knowledge in the books. And so obviously, like when it comes to the Marine Corps, tactical proficiency is like out in the field, like actually being a Marine doing the good old pow stuff, right? But as far as your business, is still there, because in your business you also do have to go out in the field in whatever way, shape, or form. So it still applies. I just want to make sure we made that connection. So be technically and tactically proficient. This is a person who knows their job thoroughly. They are experts at their job, and they possess a very wide range of field of knowledge. And so before you can lead, you must be able to do the job. I'm going to say this in my business. I came into business because I love leading others. I love leading other leaders. It was something I was fantastic at in the Marine Corps. It was also something I was great at before the Marine Corps. I almost got a milk stash, a coffee stash. It was something I was great at before the Marine Corps, and it's something I'm going to always be great at. It is one skill that I have developed and mastered, right, is that I know how to lead. And I know how to lead leaders very successfully. And now, whenever I started in business here, helping people learn about how money works and, learning about different types of investments and insurances, estate planning and asset management and debt and all the rest of the good stuff, like all the things that I've learned, doing that, and then also teaching other people how to do that and how to start their businesses and how to help other people do the same thing, right? There's two whole pieces, financial education and teaching people about, business. I honestly got started and my entire focus was to help build leaders. Unfortunately, I did not master my field and my craft. I did not master helping clients and helping families out with that. So whenever I very first started, I wasn't doing the best work with clients, and that's fine. I wasn't focusing much on that aspect, on the financial education with clients aspect. I was mostly building these leaders. But, the thing I noticed was just that my income wasn't matching because I hadn't even focused on developing and building myself and doing the actual job part, doing the actual work of my business and what my business actually does. I kind of started in business wanting to build other leaders, but I did not actually do the work to help the families and build up my knowledge there. And so my income definitely showed. And so it wasn't until I realized that when I was like, well, wait, I need to take a step back, because I think these leaders that I'm building up, they're also probably falling into the same situation where they're not helping families, but they are developing leaders. And we are a great leadership team. And so that was when I had to retract, and I was like, I need to actually start learning my actual job part, the financial education and building and working with these families and clients and business owners. And it's the second that I did that, was the second that everybody else that I was building up and leading and developing in my team, in my organization, the other business owners and things like that, they all started to also make income that matched their level of leadership, because they finally became tactically proficient. They finally became proficient in the field, not just technically. We can learn all the pieces. We can learn everything about how to run our business and how to help a family out. But if we're not actually in the field doing the work and becoming tactically proficient, it's going to be very challenging. And I cannot lead others unless I know how to do it myself. So I definitely encourage you guys to ensure that you know how to do the job before you start to lead somebody else. It makes a lot of sense. But when it comes down to it, there's so many other things that get in the way, especially if you're a person who cares about people so much that you want to help teach them and help them learn and help build them up. All right, next, a leader must make a conscious effort to observe his followers, his employees, his team, and so on and so forth, and how they react to different situations. This brings us to number 3. Know your people and look out for their welfare. I'm going to tell you right now, in business, that does not happen often. There's not many people who care about your welfare, especially if everybody's independent contractors or whatever the case is, or you yourself are a business owner. It can be very challenging a lot of times. We have so many different things going on. You've got to look at your numbers, and you've got to be improving things. You got to be at this location, then that location. You got all these different things going on. If you're an entrepreneur or you're a newer entrepreneur, you're trying to learn yourself. You're trying to build up your own leadership skills. You're trying to build up your own entrepreneurship skills. You're trying to build up your own ownership and all the rest of these different things. You're trying to take care of all this stuff, and taking the time to learn about your people and looking out for their welfare a lot of times get placed on the backside. The Marine Corps says, and I love it. Oh man, I love it too. I love it. The Marine Corps has leadership down, very down and easy. You've got mission accomplishment, and you've got troop welfare, employee welfare, follower welfare, or team welfare, or whatever the case is. Mission accomplishment and welfare of your organization. Which one comes first? Which one is most important? Getting the mission done at all costs, or fully making sure you take care of your team? Because you can't just do both at 100%. Now it's like spinning plates. Really, all of these are like spinning plates. If you've got like, sticks and things like that, you're trying to spin these plates. You got plates on your fingers and plates on your head and plates on your shoulders and on your toes and your knees or whatever the case is. The plates might all come to a perfect balance for like a split second, but you're always going to be. But the reason why is because it's not because you're just standing there waiting for it all to finally mellow out. What's happening is when you're spinning these plates, in order to get them all to balance, you're making micro adjustments each time. You might not see the plate change, but you're making micro adjustments just to get the plate to stay balanced. Very micro adjustments. Sometimes you might need to make a massive adjustment, right? But it's happening all the time. And so the same thing goes for mission accomplishment and looking out for the welfare, where you have to be able to balance it perfectly. The best leaders will. The best leaders are not going to be the ones who solely focus on that. The best leaders are not going to be the ones who solely focus on this. It's not going to happen. But a balanced great leader can be able to balance the plates of both. And so looking out for the welfare is extremely important. If you understand like how they react to these different situations, where let's say that you have someone and let's say that you're in an agency model where you have these different employees on your team and your business that obviously like you are helping out. Let's say that they're not able to close business as successfully, right? And whatever the case is, let's say that they're working with a company to be able to provide some kind of marketing or something like that, and they're not able to close as successfully, and they have it back to back to back to back to back. You need to know how they're going to react to that. You need to know that, and you need to look out for the welfare. Also, look out for the positive things. There are some people out there who, I'll be honest, who have mental health illnesses and things like that. Very similar to like me. I've had them before. Where if I have the highest high, I am terrified to lose that high and come down. Right, I'm then terrified to go and do something else and fail the next time. And if I do that, unfortunately, I feel like I'll never get back up. And so when I hit a high, a lot of times, that's it for me. Not anymore, because I know that about myself. But that's how it honestly used to be. If I would have an amazing week, month, or whatever the case is, that's it. I don't want to go back down. And it sometimes takes a leader to understand that about them, to understand and say, hey, congratulations, this is awesome. I want to make sure that we keep your feeling right now going, even though you might have a dip in your progress, or you might end up having a lack of success or something like that, right? Like knowing your troops, knowing your people, your team, looking out for the welfare is so very important. So very important. I mean, if your team is struggling with a couple of different things, you need to be in a position to be able to help them out, take care of them. That's something that I love about my business, is this, that I do know that a lot of people that I meet and come across, they do need a lot of help. I have one individual that I work with, that I teach. He's not necessarily on my team, but he wants to be able to make enough money to where he can just freely give money to people on the side of the street that need it freely. And he wants to be able to do it a lot, and then also kind of make a bigger charity out of it, but just kind of start off, and that's great, right? And that's something that I want to be able to do all the time, is be able to make enough money to, when people are just getting started building up their business, how can I help you out in any way, shape, or form, whether it's money or what time, whatever the case is. All right. Next, keep your personnel informed. I think that's also very important. You keep them in the dark, and it takes away their options to think for themselves. If you don't keep them informed, it takes away their option. That's a controlling leader right there, where you're not giving them information. Whether it's positive or negative information, you need to give them information. Keep them informed. It's like a relationship. It's like a relationship. If you are in a relationship and you go and let's say you cheat on your partner, you should tell them. If you go and you find out something negative about you yourself or whatever the case is, that affects your partner, let them know, because it's controlling if you don't. You're taking away their option to choose. If you went and cheat on them and you come and let them know, you're saying, hey, I'm giving you an option. I did this. I'll be a man or woman of my word. And I cannot say that you have much character if you went out and cheated. But what I can say is, at least that part, you had the moral courage to come and let them know, right? So if that's the case, you then present them the option to say whether or not they want to stay with you. And that, if you take that option away from them, that's controlling. So don't be a controlling leader. Promote efficiency and morale. A leader should inform their command or personnel of all happenings and give reasons why things are to be done. I understand, like, not every time will you have the time to sit down, meet in the and say, hey, here's why everything's happening. But if you can inform them on the front end and be proactive instead of reactive, right? If you can explain things that are kind of coming down the pipeline, things that are happening, why we're doing things, teach them, and the off time, whenever it's in the field time, they won't have any questions. If before a meeting, let's say that you're sitting down with a training appointment to show this new person in your team, in your organization, how things are run, if you brief them on the front end, they won't have to ask during those meetings and those very crucial moments. They won't have to ask why. And a lot of times that's where we get aggravated as leaders. Tell them on the front end. So keep your personnel informed. This is a super easy one next. Set the example. Very easy. Everybody knows this. A leader who shows professional competence, courage, and integrity sets high personal standards for himself before he can rightfully demand it from others. You have to. And it's so cliche, but so simple, so cliche and simple of a strategy, of a principle, of something to live by. But I'm going to be honest with you, a lot less of us actually do it than we think. And it's always in those critical, high stress moments where that shows that you don't actually set the example. And it shows in one of two ways. It shows either by one, you actually not setting the example and doing what you're supposed to do in those critical moments. All right. So let's say that you're on a battlefield and it's time for everybody to do whatever the case is. And you honestly, and everything like crap hits the fan. Your immediate reactions will show whether or not you always set the example. Maybe sometimes you fake it when it's not in those critical moments. Maybe sometimes you're just telling them, hey, in these critical moments, do this. But in that critical moment, what you do, if you don't set the example, if you don't have that competence, that courageousness, and that integrity, it's not going to happen. So that's one way you can check to see if you're actually setting an example. And I've seen that a lot of times where it does come to that high stress situation. But also too, in those high stress situations, if your team does not show and does not implement that stuff that you expect and demand of them, it's because you don't actually set the example as well. So you can tell that you're not setting an example by in those high stress situations. You don't, or your team doesn't. If your team doesn't, it's just because one, you haven't practiced enough with them, and two, you don't actually set the example all of the time for them to immediately snap right into exactly what to be able to do, how to act, how to react, how to think, how to feel. Next, ensure the task is understood, supervised, and accomplished. So, I mean, obviously that's all about explaining, issuing the task, and making sure that's accomplished, right? You must give clear and concise orders that cannot be misunderstood. And then, by close supervision, ensure that these orders are properly executed. If you're leading a team of volunteers, leading what's called a volunteer army, people who don't have to work for you or don't have to work with you, this is something that's very crucial, because if there's a task, if there is something that you need to get done, that your team needs to get done for their development and for their betterment, You have to understand that you must not leave any room for error in the instruction that you're giving and the education that you're giving to them. And then you also need to supervise, not micromanage, supervise, return, right? Your best leverage that you have as a leader, and I learned this from a gentleman, Kevin McGinnis. Your best leverage that you have for a situation like that is going to be your buy-in. So the buy-in that your team has of what you are telling them, what you're teaching them, what you're giving them. And then also their commitment. So they need to have that buy-in, and then also they get a commitment from you. And you do that, and it's easy. Say, hey, I'm going to follow up in a week. And I want to see how this went for you, how successful this was for you, all right? And I'm going to hold you to it, and then you supervise. You just make, hey, by the way, here's something to be able to help you out. Here's another tool and resource to help you out with whatever task this is, all right? And then make sure it's accomplished. Train your people as a team. Train your people as a team. As a leader, you must insist on teamwork from your team, regardless of whether they are independent or not. Train them as a team. If you train, play, and operate as a team, you must do that. Be sure that they each know their responsibilities within the team framework. There are going to be so many people who have different strengths, different weaknesses, and if you have a team of these individuals, train them together, not individually. It can be very easy to work with all of them individually and say, hey, here's all of your weaknesses. Here's your weakness. Let's build on that. Here's your weakness. Let's build on that. Here's your weakness. Let's build on that. But if you train them as a team, you show them each their strengths and their weaknesses, they can start to work together and play on their strengths so that as a team, you're having total success because everyone's playing on their strengths and covering the weaknesses of each other. But then they can also see and work on and practically apply their weaknesses or building on the weaknesses from each other and from yourself. So make sure that you're training them as a team, not just individually. They should truly understand their position within the team. Hey, I'm the team's expert on this. I have been here for this amount of time, so I have this knowledge and this experience of the history of where we came from, and I'm brand new, and so I bring a fresh take from a different industry. Whatever the case is, train them as a team. Next, make sound and timely decisions. This is where we talked about your decisiveness, your judgment, and your justice. The last Leadership Blueprint podcast episode, where the leader must be able to rapidly estimate a situation and make a sound decision based on that estimation. It's very, very simple. Make sound and timely decisions. One of your best ways to practice some decision making is actually utilizing a lot of those like brain apps to help you enhance your brain and your thinking and your decision making skills and things like that. It's one of the best ways that you can do that, and get in on it, because it's very difficult to put yourself in high stress situations where you need to make those sound and timely decisions. But also another really great thing to do is also to practice how you play. So get in with a couple of your team, some other leaders as well, and start doing some role plays and case studies and practicing in those manners as well. Next, and a lot of these are much easier. A lot of these stuff is like just much easier. I think a lot of the first initial ones are the ones with a lot of depth. But all right, this one, develop a sense of responsibility among your subordinates. Develop a sense of responsibility among your subordinates. So give your people and your team, give them the opportunity for professional and personal development. Always give them an opportunity for it. Give them tasks and start delegating different authorities that allows them to start building mutual confidence within, like, back and forth, and respect between you and the subordinates. I think that's the one huge thing that a lot of people miss out, is that they consistently want to be the leader that everybody can come to, that everybody can trust, that everybody can. But you must give them the ability and the opportunity to grow professionally. You must allow them and encourage them to become a leader and to develop professionally all the time. It's something that like right now, literally I'm working on with some of the people on my team. So I just kind of had, one entire team get promoted up, and like they're taking care of building their own leaders now. Like they have that space, but now I want to continue to build more leaders as well, where they're able to start to actually grow and build themselves and develop professionally. And so I'm assigning them different tasks, and I'm helping them see their worth and delegating authority to them, where people should be able to go and connect with them and talk to them, ask them questions as well. That allows them to grow. Right? If I'm the only one with all of the knowledge on my team, then I'm not knowledgeable, because now my team is not effective, because now everyone must come to me, and I'm not building any other leaders. No one will. Once they become a leader, they're still going to be coming to me, and their team will be coming to me. And so you must give them the opportunity to develop a sense of responsibility. Let them grow. Give them the space to fail. At least you'll be there as a cushion to hold it, to not let them fall all the way on the ground and crack their skull. Right? Be there for them whenever they do fall, but give them the space to actually breathe and develop. Now, I'm not saying give them the space to let them be lazy. Give them the space to actually have some professional development, to build and bring mutual confidence, once again, between the leaders and the subordinates, between you and them, between them and their team and their people, so that way they can actually grow and develop. I think that's actually a huge one that a lot of leaders forget, that you don't have to be the only leader, and you can actually lead leaders and build leaders. Employ your team within its capabilities is next. Employ your team within their capabilities. So leader must have thorough knowledge of the tactical and technical capabilities of their team, right? So you must know who is an expert in every area, and also who's great in the field as well. Successful completion of a task depends on how well you know your team's capabilities. I think that is very important, just because if you know all of that stuff, you know who's great at what, then you can employ them and you can teach them and you help them train each other. Right? If I know that on my team, I have an expert who is, I have a team member who is an expert in helping people out with, for instance, in my team, let's say that like we help out with like health insurance. If I have someone who is an expert in long-term care planning, I want that person to be able to help teach and coach everyone else who's not as great at that piece. If I'm working within health insurance, if I'm working within like a CPA firm, and I know somebody is so much better at S Corp tax planning, then I want to go to that person to assign tasks and allow them to then also teach other people, right? So ensure that you understand your team, what they're good at, what they're bad at, and also give them tasks based on that. And then last but not least, seek responsibility and take responsibility. Look for ways to actually have and create some challenging assignments for yourself. Look out for that. That's for your own professional development. And then you must use initiative and sound judgment when you're trying to accomplish jobs that are required by your position, wherever you are. So look for those responsibilities and also take full responsibility and ownership of whatever it is, right? Anything that happens is because any negative thing that happens is your responsibility. Any positive thing that happens is because of your team. Any negative thing that happens is because of you. That's on you. That's your responsibility. Anything positive that's happening is because of your team. Remember that. Anything, I don't care if it's your own success. If you had success, that's because of your team. If you didn't have your team there, you might not have had the time and the space to go get that success. I'll say that. I'll say that right there. And if that hits you, what they say, I didn't mean to miss you. The shoe fits. Hey. So that is 11 leadership principles. Those are principles of which you as a leader should live by and adopt, right? I hope that it was very thorough for you. Now remember, on all of those, you need to be judging yourself from 1 to 10 on how well you have that implemented in your day. And like I said before, just by judging yourself on it, you're already going to be setting yourself up for success, because you're going to start to know yourself and you're going to start to seek self-improvement. And so actually take care of that. Do that consistently, daily. Think about these. Write it down. Put it up on a wall or something like that, and think about them. Which ones, and I'd love to know in the comments below as well, which of these leadership principles are you best at and are you worst at? Which one do you need to improve on the most? I would love to know in the comment section down below. And also, while you're scrolling down there, make sure to follow, star this podcast if you're listening on Spotify. Also, if you are on Spotify, come over to YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, go over to Spotify. Check it out. It's really cool. Both of them are. But also, give a nice little subscribe. Give a nice little subscribe. It's free. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Be very successful. And go out there and kill some leadership. I look forward to hearing all of your guys' success in the comment section down below. But with that, I will see you guys later, and take good care of yourselves. Stop saying
prepared to do it anyway. Everybody has a destiny before them. But what good is your life? What good is the story that you will tell if you're not willing to put forth the efforts that are needed so that you can know within yourself that you did exactly what was necessary to get what you wanted out of your life? And let's go back to wanting. I want to be healthy. That's good. I want to be a better human being. That's good. I want to be able to get to a point that I know that I've worked hard enough because I was disciplined enough to get there. But if you're going to say excuses is your friend, if you're going to say laziness is your companion, good luck with that. See how far you go. When you're surrounding yourself with people that don't want to get better in their lives, then you need to disconnect yourself from that. Because when you're surrounding yourself with things that are not getting you to the next position in your life, if you're not being elevated, then you're not going to get far in life. You're going to continue to be in neutral, and you will become predictable.